So, thanks for having me today here in Katowice. My name is, I hope I can, no, that does not work. It's a presentation mode. Fine, yes, okay, I got it. So my name is Holger Klein, aka Carambo from the Decred project. I'm contributor for the Decred project in front-end development since 2016, involved in the project. And I want to give you a brief introduction to the proof-of-stake system that we introduced in the Decred project and give you some background information so you get a deeper understanding of what's going on with the governance system in Decred. So the intention of the development of Decred was to solve the governance problem that we have in blockchain development. Who decides what direction the project goes in the future, right? So the idea in Decred is to give all the decision power over the development to the holders of the coin. The owners of the coin should decide in which direction the project moves in the future. So when you own coins, you have the option to take part in the proof-of-stake system, in the proof-of-stake voting system. The development of Decred is self-sustained, as we already heard. 10% of the block reward on each block goes to the development funds. And how these funds will be spent, for what the developers get paid, that's gonna be decided by the stakeholders via the proof-of-stake voting system. So when you hold Decred, you can decide which is the next feature, on what should be worked on, and who does that get paid for what work, right? We introduced the hybrid, the hybridized proof-of-work, proof-of-stake system to bring tension in the system. We want to have all participants who involved in the system to control each other, so the result is that there is a positive intensive for every participant in the system. Again, proof of work. Proof of work is a rolling, ongoing lottery on a constant basis, racing to find the next block first by proof of work mining, right? We have the same system integrated via proof of stake. So even proof of stake is an ongoing lottery system to choose your ticket and cast a vote, right? The important thing here is that proof of work is stronger. Proof of work can override proof of stake is a stronger element in both two, because proof of stake can override proof of work. What that means is each new block that's generated by the proof of work miners gets verified by the proof of stake miners. So if the proof of work miners do not behave, like mining empty blocks without integrating any transactions, then the proof of stake miners can deny the block and the miner gets no reward, but the stake voters who voted no to the block get their reward. So the intention is always, it works like a two-factor authentication on proof of work blocks, right? So we check the blocks and then we validate the blocks. So the miners are always intensified to behave correct, right? So the proof of stake miners, in order to take part in the proof of stake system, they have to lock up their funds. You need to buy tickets. This is skin in the game, right? You buy a ticket and the funds are locked. You cannot spend them. They are locked until your ticket gets chosen from the lottery system and you vote. Then you get the money for the ticket back plus your reward, which is around 1.3 Decred per voting currently. So when you have skin in the game, like the proof of work miners who invest a lot of money into the hardware that they run, the electricity, so they have interest to gain the most profit out of it. and in bringing the tension into it, so everybody is interested to have a correct working system, and the project is successful, right? When you spend, you put your financial investment into the project, you can vote. You will vote for the good things, not for the bad things, right? But because you are invested in it, you have skin in the game. So the post miners make all fundamental decisions about if a block is correct, for what the development funds get spent, or if we hard fork, right? We have integrated a hard fork voting system, which means when there's a new feature, like we want bigger blocks, from 1 megabyte to 2 megabyte, let's say, then we need a hard fork, right? It cannot be done with a soft fork. The chain changes, the block, how the block looks has to change. So this is a hard fork. But what we don't want that the old chain is working still. Yeah? We don't want a Bitcoin Cash situation or something is forking off because the community splits in the ideas or in their ideals. So yeah, we want to prevent that situation, right? So the majority wins in a decred. So we vote, and when there's a majority, we hard fork, right? And the old chain has to die because when you produce old blocks, nobody of the proof of stake miners will validate them. They will deny your blocks, right? So the old chain dies. Yeah, you can say Decred is not forkable at all. Huh? It's unforkable because the monetary investment you have to put into it, yeah, mining blocks that get denied, buying tickets to agree on your own blocks, your forked blocks, that's so much money you cannot run your blockchain on. You cannot keep it running on. So some numbers for you about how much money you can get. So the idea was you buy a ticket, you vote for something, and we pay you for voting, right? That's the idea. So let's come to the numbers behind how much profit is in it for you. So when you purchase a ticket, your ticket gets locked for around maximal time of 4.5 months. That's the maximum lifetime for one ticket. But in average, you have a chance of 50% that your ticket votes in between the first 28 days. After 4.5 months, if your ticket was not chosen by the lottery, your ticket expires and you get the money back for the ticket, but you get no reward because you was not called to cast a vote. So the ticket pool size is around 41,000 tickets. And we have the difficulty algorithm in proof of work. The more people mine on the blockchain, the higher is the difficulty. And the same idea goes for proof of stake. The more people buy tickets, the higher is the stake difficulty, which is the ticket price, right? The price rises, the more people buy tickets, the price goes up. If nobody buys tickets, the price goes down. We have these numbers because they make sense on a computer, on the computer, right? 8-bit, 16-bit, and so on. And this keep the amount of tickets in the ticket pool stable. So the ticket price algorithm adjusts the ticket price, so it makes sure that 41,000 tickets are always ready to vote, ready to get called to vote. What? I have covered all numbers. Okay, so 0.5% is expiring of your tickets. So when you buy 200 tickets, one will expire. That's around the numbers that the statistics gave. That's because sometimes the ticket pool can rise up, like 41, 42, a lot of people buying tickets. So some of the tickets will expire. It does not cover in the numbers. Round about 20% is your reward if you stake continuously for 1 year, right? That's annually a reward is currently around 20%. A little bit more if you stake and the income, the profits that you get, you put it back into stake, you can like 25% maybe currently. What do you need to in order to stake? Of course, first of all, you need coins, right? And with these coins, you can buy tickets, and so on each block, 5 tickets get called to vote. And in order to do that, you need a computer that's online, because when a new block comes and your ticket gets chosen from the lottery, you have a few seconds to cast your vote, right? Before the next block comes and the next block comes. So you always need a 24/7 to the internet connected wallet that's always ready to vote. If you don't want to do it, you don't know how to manage some VPS server or running your computer at home, Raspberry Pi, whatever. If you don't want to handle it, you can use a stake pool. That means you give the voting rights to the stake pool, and you tell the stake pool how he should vote for you. So the stake pool is not in control of your funds at any point in time. You're always in possession of your own coins. You don't have to give them away, but you only give the voting right to the stake pool, and you tell the stake pool how he should decide on the agendas that are available currently that we vote on. So the stake pool is always online. It's a requirement to run multiple wallets around the globe if you operate in stake pool. So they are always make sure that when your ticket gets called, they cast the vote for you. And you can, of course, at any time control the block in the blockchain you're voting.
So voting is manually or can be
the voting is automatically, right? Your ticket gets called from the proof of work miner. The block arrives, the block is ready, he publishes the block, and the next block is like voting on the block before, right? And it's automatically. So your ticket gets chosen from the lottery, you vote. That's automatically. You don't have to click anything, you just prepare your voting preferences. Yes, no, yes, I want this, no, I want this, he should get paid, he should get not paid, and then you wait, right? You open your wallet, you had a vote, wow, nice, 1 Decred for free. Thank you. So why do we vote? What is it about, right? So first of all, we want to secure the blockchain we are voting, right? You verify the block. So you are securing the blockchain with your votes, right? We verify blocks. The second one is the hard fork voting, right? So this is a very nice feature because we don't have a centralized person like Vitalik Buterin who just forks off and we switch back 5,000 blocks and he decided it, right? When a new feature in Decred arrives that needs a fork, then the new feature is implemented in the software, but it's dormant, which means it's inactive. It's not activated. So we release the software, the people install the new software, and when the network is upgraded, we vote to activate the new feature that's already implemented, and then we fork, right? So if the majority of the stakeholders decide, yes, we want to activate, we want to hard fork, then we fork. This is enforced by the consensus rules, right? So if there is a hard fork situation, you always need the hard fork voting to activate the hard fork, right? To do it. And last but not, so first was securing the blockchain, second was hard fork voting mechanism, and the third is personal proposals and developing funds. Who should get paid for what, right? You can choose, that's a nice idea, and decide if it should be started to working on, to get it implemented, and pay the developers actually for the work. Right? So let's talk a little bit more about the hard fork voting. So as I say, the code is already in the software, but it's not active yet. So we start voting on it when the majority of the network has updated and is running the software. We know, yeah, they understand the new features, so we can start voting and activate it. On the positive come out, when the voting, the majority of the people say yes, we want a hard fork, we fork. Let's get a little bit deeper into the voting cycle of the hard fork voting, how it does work. We implement a new feature in the software, we release the software, the people start installing the software, using it. When 95% of the latest 1,000 blocks are on the new block version, which means they have running the new software. And 75% of the stake votes are also on the new software. We know the majority of the network is running the latest software. We can now start the voting cycle. The voting cycle begins. It's around 8,000 blocks, which is around 1 month. So a voting takes 1 month. And after this 1 month, the votes get tallied, they get checked. And depending on the result, we fork, we do not fork, or the vote has to re-begin because not enough people have participated in the voting. We need at least 10% of all casted blocks needs active votes, right? So you can, per default, your voting is, your default voting setting on agendas is abstain. Yeah? You don't say no, you don't say yes, you abstain. I don't care. I abstain. So that's the default setting. So you really need actively to set your voting preferences, and when at least 10% of all people have set voting preferences, then it counts as a valid voting. And then we just take a look if the majority wants it, which is 75%. So if 75% says yes, we fork. If 75% says no, then we don't activate the new feature. This means you put trust into the blockchain, you secure the blockchain, the developers put trust into you, they code new work, they push it out to you, and you decide if we activate it. So no one in the cycle is really in control of there's no single person, there's no single entity in control. Everybody can write code, propose it to the system, and it's going to a vote, right? The developers don't decide if it's a good idea or not, the stakeholders decide. So, upcoming, we currently we have the on-chain binding, on-chain voting already working, a proof of stake system, and now we are working on the proposal system, which means we want that everybody can post their ideas to the Decred project, and their ideas cannot be censored, right? If you have a good idea but the developers don't like it, then they just don't publish it, right? It's unpublic. You submit your proposal, but nobody will ever see it because the admin of the website says no, delete, nobody sees, right? That's a bad thing. So when you propose an idea on the Politeia proposal system, that's currently a work in progress. You can check it on testnet, it's already working and running. We will release it during the next weeks and months. So you put your proposal idea, like I want to develop a new feature, I have 3 developers, it takes 4 months, I need 100 Decred per month, I have 3 milestones. You propose your idea and the stakeholders can watch the idea, check, I like it, yes. Oh no, I like it, no. So we want to have a proposal system that's uncensorable. You have a proof of censorship, right? They censored me. It's a good idea, but they censored me. So we don't want it. You have a censorship, a proof of censorship token. Let's call it like that, because your proposal is anchored into the blockchain, right? As soon as you submit your proposal, we timestamp it in the blockchain, and there's a proof that you have submitted a proposal, and you can prove it afterwards, right? So why we do the Politeia system? We want to The 10% of developer funds currently is held by a Decred Holding LLC that's registered in America, and that's holding the funds, and that's paying the developers, right? But we want these funds to be fully decentralized. Nobody has to pull the trigger or switch a flip a switch, right? It should be fully decentralized autonomous organization, which means we want to ultimately, that's the goal for this year actually, we want to put the developer funds into a smart contract system, and who gets paid will be decided over the Politeia voting proposal system. So nobody ever is in possession of the funds. That's the idea of Politeia. We are currently working. It's a beautiful stuff. It really is, and we are going to release it really soon. Okay, some highlights. I think already Kozel has mentioned. We have already working the on-chain voting. We have already voted a hard fork voting to activate the opcodes that's needed for the Lightning Network, hash time lock based hashes and stuff. Opcodes that's needed for the Lightning Network. We already implemented it. We